Hello students, today we shall study the history, our past 3, part 2. Chapter 8, topic civilizing the native, educating the nation. But before starting off, I request all of you to open your textbook and take chapter 8 of history. And today we shall cover the subtopic, how the British saw education and the tradition of Orientalism. Dear students, from the topic itself, you can understand or perceive that the native, that is, the Indians, need to be civilized from the British perspective of view. They believed that we are backward and therefore need to be educated. In the previous chapters, we have seen how the British rule affected the Rajas and Nawabs, peasants and tribals. And in this chapter, we shall try and understand what implication or impact it had for the lives of students. For the British in India wanted not only territorial conquest and control over revenues, but they also felt that they had a cultural mission. And what was their cultural mission? To civilize the natives. Natives means the Indians, and change their customs and values. Now the question remains, what changes were to be introduced and how were Indians to be educated or civilized and made into what the British believed were good subjects. The British could find no simple answer to these questions, so they continued to be debated for many decades. How the British saw education. Under this topic, let us look at what the British thought and did, and how some of the ideas of education that we now take for granted evolved in the last 200 years. And in the process of this inquiry or quest, we will also see how Indians reacted to British ideas and how they developed their own views about how Indians were to be educated. So there were two groups of Indians. One group wanted the Indian way of education. The other groups were for the Western way of education. The tradition of Orientalism. As you can see in the figure 1, William Jones learning Persian. So students, from this topic only the main story begins. So let us go through it. In 1783, a person named William Jones arrived in Calcutta. He had an appointment as a junior judge at the Supreme Court that the company had set up. In addition to being an expert in law, Jones was a linguist. Linguist means someone who knows and studies several languages. He had studied Greek and Latin at Oxford and knew French and English. He had picked up Arabic from a friend and had also learned Persian. And at Calcutta, he began spending many hours a day with pandits who taught him the subtleties of Sanskrit language, grammar, and poetry. Soon, he was studying ancient Indian texts on law, philosophy, religion, politics, morality, arithmetic, medicine, and the other sciences. So John discovered that his interests were shared by many British officials as well. who were living in Calcutta at the time. Englishmen like Henry Thomas Colebrook and Nathaniel Halhed were also busy discovering the ancient Indian heritage and mastering Indian languages and translating Sanskrit and Persian works into English. So, together with them, Jones set up the Asiatic Society of Bengal and started a journal called Asiatic Researches. So, Jones and Colebrook came to represent a particular attitude towards India. That is, they shared a deep respect for ancient cultures, both of India and the West. Indian civilization, they felt, had attained its glory in the ancient past, but had subsequently declined. In order to understand India, it was necessary to discover the sacred and legal texts that were produced in the ancient period. For only those texts could reveal the real ideas and laws of the Hindus and Muslims. And only a new study of these texts could form the basis of future development in India. So Jones and Colebrook went about discovering ancient texts, understanding their meaning, translating them, and making their findings known to others. This project, they believed, would not help the British learn from Indian culture, but it would also help Indians rediscover their own heritage and understand the lost glories of their past. In this process, the British would become the guardian of Indian culture as well as its masters. So, influenced by such ideas, many company officials argued that the British ought to promote Indian rather than Western learnings. That means many British officials were for Indian way of learning. They felt that institutions should be set up to encourage the study of ancient Indian texts and teach Sanskrit and Persian literature and poetry. So the officials also thought that Hindus and Muslims need to be taught what they were already familiar with and what they valued and treasured, not subjects that were not familiar to them. Only then, they believed, could the British hope to win a place in the hearts of the natives. Only then could the alien rulers, that is, means foreign rulers, expect to be respected by their subjects. With this object in view, so a madrasa was set up in Calcutta in 1781 to promote the study of Arabic, Persian and Islamic law. Subsequently, and the Hindu college was established in Benares in 1791 to encourage the study of ancient Sanskrit text that would be useful for the administration of the country. But not all officials shared these views. Many were very strong in their criticism of the Orientalist. Orientalist means Asian way of learning, Asian or Indian way of learning. Dear students, that's enough for today. Thank you.